Dan Campbell took this Lions job with a vision. That vision has ignited the Lions fan base in a way not seen perhaps ever.
This is a sleeping giant. This is a sports town, and we feel the love.
Remember who you are!
NFC North champions, everybody.
Vision, winners, back-to-back seasons.
Your team ain't ours, the prize is worldwide now. Riding to your town, win, then ride out. The crew here to break it down for y'all, to demonstrate how we ain't playing around with y'all. The humble host with punchlines to give you a black eye. We brought a GM and OC, even a stat guy. Other teams drink the Kool-Aid, roll over and quit. I drank Campbell's soup and woke up all grit.
And we're back with a special guest on this episode of the All Grit podcast. We know it's been a couple weeks. We've kind of been letting the season, kind of just fall by the wayside. Yeah, simmer. It's simmering. Yeah. So, but we got Super Bowl coming up this week, and I put the EPB out there for the number one beat writer in the Detroit area, and the back call. It went through successful. He's here with us live. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this beautiful bearded man. If you're listening on the podcast here, let me welcome and introduce. Wait, first my OC, my ride or die, Adrian. What's up?
We're here, man. We're here, but we got a very special guest. Let's give him the intro.
Do it. Mr. Ben Raven of the Dungeon of Doom podcast. How are you, Mr. Ben Raven?
I'm doing great. Finally able to join you on here. Life cooled down a little bit. Happy to be here, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for joining. We bumped shoulders, spring training. Saw you. Was Corey with you that day or no? Somebody with you that day.
Somewhere. Yeah, I might have been hanging out with Nolan and Colton. They're usually attached at my hip.
Okay, maybe it was Colton. Yeah. So bumped into you. Got a couple things we put on our socials with you, and then we kind of made plans to hook back up mid-season at some point. But between your travels all over the country, truly, we appreciate the time that you can give us now. How was this season for you, Ben?
It was great. It was I know it didn't end the way anyone thought or wanted it to, and all that stuff. But what a strange. I talk about years on the beat as flavor changes. This wasn't the flavor change that fans wanted, but going from the last 2 years to this, and the wins and the losses for 2.5 straight months, it was it's kind of challenging. How do I don't want to contradict myself with last week's column, but they completely fixed it this week, and then it's completely broken the next week. But I love what I do. I love getting to travel the country to do it. It's the football life. It's wild for 5 or 6 months, and then it cools down a little bit like it is right now. It's honestly a dream, and it took us a while to connect just because I wasn't supposed to be in the last semester of my master's program in the season, but I kind of had to take a class when I had to take it. So the beat duties, the travel duties, the master's duties. The season and the master's program ended within 2 days of each other. So it's just been a weird, brain, cooling down month for me for sure.
Did you finish your master's? Is that what it is? Or
I did.
Congrats, man. That's awesome. Did you go back to Central? I know you're Chippewa.
I am Chip, undergrad Chip. I got my master's at Syracuse, the Newhouse School. Yep.
Right,
okay.
Very nice. That's right. Fire up.
For the Masters. All right. Nice. Quick question, Ben. How did you, me and Adrian, lifelong, I don't know your age. I'm 38. Adrian's a little bit younger than me.
37. Yep.
37. So when you first started being a Lions fan, what made you say, you know what, I'm going to start to get into this business where I can actually every day or, several days throughout the week, I'm talking to Lions players. For me and Adrian being over here in Grand Rapids, that's got to be one of the best jobs in the world. So just how did you get into that real briefly for our listeners?
Yeah, I grew up. It started really early. I'm from the West Side myself, Greenville, Michigan. So I grew up reading the Grand Rapids Press, and obviously, my whole family, we're all from Michigan. It was all Lions all the time. But around the time I got to high school, I played a little college basketball, so sports was always the life for me. I just was I knew I was going to work in sports. I didn't know when, so I was just the fandom kind of died down for me a little. It was just all sports all the time. It was just this quest to like I was a weird kid. Like when the Jaguars got introduced as a team, I loved the Jaguars when I was a kid, and that kind of lasted through high school and college a little bit too. There was just a weird teal connection there.
Your love for Mark Brunell.
Yeah, that's right. And I just knew I always wanted to start and be in sports somehow, and it didn't seem like it was going to go that way for a while. I stopped playing basketball at Davenport and went to CMU, got into the journalism program. I did multiple different jobs around the state for MLive for about 5 years, and then was Kyle Meinke's beat partner for 4 or 5 seasons. And then here we are. I'm going into my 8th season next year already. But it was always every move I ever made professionally was to set myself up to be in position to get one of those Detroit beat jobs. So like when a news job opened up in Detroit for MLive, I was like, let me get there, chip away, take this series, do it, wait for one to open up, and there it was. The Lions job opened up, and by God, I got it. And we've been living the dream, man. But yeah, it was 5 or 6 years of doing news and odd jobs and journalism, just trying to build up to that point, get to Detroit, and be ready if the call ever came. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you gotta love the game if you take a job and Matt Patricia was the head coach. Like
that's what I started.
Like, I'll do it.
Yeah. Is that when you started?
Yeah, I started year 2 Patricia. I got hired after his first season in that offseason. So it was what an experience the Matt Patricia years were. I just
don't tell me you were the feet on the desk guy.
No, I was not the feet on the desk guy. I was not the sloucher either.
Have some respect.
Yeah, a little decorum. Oh no, that wasn't him, was it? That was
no. Yeah, who was that?
That was the guy right before Patricia.
Yeah. Oh, was it
what's his name?
Was it Caldwell?
Yeah, Jim Caldwell. A little decorum. No, we actually have a soundbite from the whole time that Matt Patricia was here. There it is. Yep, that's our Matt Patricia drop. So let's move on from that. But that's awesome, Dan. That's awesome. I really appreciate. So you chipped away at it. That's Chippewa spirit. I caught that in there. So you kept doing it. So do you work with you work with all the beat writers then that are in there right now? So you're seeing everybody. You're getting in behind scenes. So one of the questions we had, what's one misconception that people have about being a beat writer today? What do you think?
Oh, geez, that's a good question.
Kind of wide open.
I think people would be surprised to learn that some of my closest friends in the world are my competitors. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like back in the day, I'm not saying we aren't competitive. We are competitive. We're always trying to get it first or get it right or write it better and ask the better and all that. But like, I don't know, as journalism's kind of changed along the years, I feel like that kind of, maybe it's the younger generation. Like I'm 37, so I was the younger generation. Now I'm the mid to washed generation with these young kids coming in. And it's just, I just think we're a lot tighter than people actually think we are. Like it's not just coworkers. Like I'm not just tight with Corey, but like I'm tight with Justin Rogers and Nolan and Colton and Rich and those guys. And I love Dave Burkett and like, we're competitors and stuff, but like, I don't know. It's a beat, it's there's one goal. And like when the tough questions have to be asked, it's kind of like sometimes we'll talk and be like, all right, how we want to go about this one? Like, just, like
that's fantastic.
Like, what do we needs to be asked? Let's get that on the table. And that doesn't happen all the time, but I would just say like we're competitors. We do compete. We're not like working together or anything, but like our beat is healthy. And I think maybe that's a misconception. The other misconception is on like road games, people, I feel like sometimes my family even thinks like I just fly in, I go to a game, write story and go home. No, we're working like that entire trip. We get like 6 hours of freedom on Saturday and then it's off to the races. And usually after the game, there's no sleep and you're getting work done. You're rushing to the airport. You're going straight back to Allen Park. You're working some more and the new week starts on Wednesday morning.
I mean, listening to your Dungeon of Doom podcast, I mean, you guys have been in locked rooms after games till 1, 2 in the morning. It amazes me how you guys are doing that. And you get kind of woken up or when someone walks in the door and they're like, hey, you can't be in here. And you're like, okay, sorry, we got to get going. Like, it's crazy.
dude, the last podcast of the year from Soldier Field, I've recorded in this one room. It's the same room I always record in. Cleaning crew walks in. You need me to move. Okay, I'll go to this room. They kept sending me to a room, and then someone new would walk in like 5 minutes later. And finally, I just was like, you guys told me to go in here. I need 20 minutes. There's like 40 of these suites that need to be clean. I'm sorry. I'm going to finish. And they were like, it's just, we got locked on an elevator in Canton. Nolan and I got locked outside of Jerry World one time. We went out the wrong exit. It was after the Skipper Decker reported game. That was a stressful night. I think it might have been like 3:45 in the morning, 4 in the morning. We went out a wrong exit, and we were just locked in this fenced-in area. And thank goodness Nolan speaks a little Spanish because he got the attention of someone and got us out. But like that stuff happens so freaking much. Like I have like 3 or 4 of those stories this year. The Canton elevator story was terrifying because I don't like elevators. It's kind of a phobia for me. Getting stuck in one, watching it drop 5 feet is like, I was like, get me out of here.
Nice. Love it. So you got stories before games, after games, but let's talk a little bit, just if you can, about this upcoming season. And we're putting this season to bed. So, free agency is going to be starting here momentarily, and then that leads open to the draft. Now we're going to save draft talk because that's going to become later on. We're going to shoot some draft stuff, but just talking like free agent targets that you could see the Lions pursuing. Do you got a hot read for us?
Here's the thing with Lions free agency. They're never going to be among the most aggressive free agent teams. Like even after a season like last year, they're always going to try and build through the draft and keep their focus on the draft. And unfortunately, I know they have some cap space, but like they are pretty strapped with more extensions coming. The extensions they've already given out. It's not the open cupboards it's been in previous years, and I think that's kind of why you saw moves like last year. Like, Carlton Davis got a little too expensive. Let's go find a DJ Reed for about $14 to $15 million less a year. So I do think it'll be another conservative free agent period. The biggest moves might be re-signings. Like I look at an Al-Quadin Muhammad. I looked at it. And Alex Anzalone, who I do not think the door is closed on because I think they realize their defense is worse. Yeah. I don't think it's done yet. I'm 50-50 with it, but I'm just like looking, do you really need to create another need at linebacker when you have so many other needs elsewhere, when you have this veteran who fits in well, the 5-time captain, who has continued to get better his entire career here in Detroit? But it's gonna be conservative. Like they're gonna have to, if they plan to go big for Linderbaum or whatever, the big center free agent out of Baltimore, they're going to have to restructure some deals. They're going to have some guys in-house say, all right, let me help you free up some cap space. Let's work some cap magic. But because if they don't do that, it's going to be very conservative, I think. It's all about the draft here. It's always going to be about the draft under Brad Holmes. Whether they win 14 games or 2 games, it's going to be about the draft.
Yeah.
Now, I know we don't know anything about Decker at this instance. Yeah. But what's your take? Sorry to cut you off, Adrian. What's your take
No, you're good.
How many between free agency, draft, and then let's just add Decker as a third in there. How do you see that playing out with the offensive line? So once again, the question is going to be: is Decker coming back or is he gone? And then if that's the case, when it comes to the draft, when it comes to free agency, we only have Panay locked up. We got Ratledge. We got a blank at center, Christian Mahogany on the left, and then a blank, let's just say. Yeah. So what's your early take on February 4th?
That's a good question. I was feet from Decker as he gave that post-game interview after Chicago. And we all talked about it afterwards, but like it was really hard walking away from that, thinking he was coming back. Like it's Decker. That's one of the toughest guys I've ever met in my life outside of covering this team or not. So there's always a chance he decides to run it back. But I think it's done. I do think he'll walk away. I just being there after that Chicago game, listening to him talk, it was just like, man, it really sounds like it's leaning hard towards retire. And but yeah, it's because the thing with the offensive line is, with or without Decker, they need to plan for the now at tackle. They need to consider what kind of tackle they draft, whether Panay needs to move left or right. With Mahogany and Ratledge locked in, I think Christian Mahogany has the potential to be a good starter. I think one of the mistakes that didn't get talked about enough last year, no competition for him in training camp. Just two starts for a 5th or 6th round pick who missed most of the training camp of the preseason. I was like, yeah, he was good in those 2 games, but like, dang, no internal competition.
Yeah.
So I think they need guard competition. That might come via free agency because I think the draft has to be all about finding your tackle of the future, whether it's right or left side, whatever happens to Panay. And they need a starting center because I know Graham's under contract, but it doesn't feel like that's going to be running it back either. Like it just from his side, from their side, it feels like that's done too. We'll see what happens there. But like, there's some tackles I really like in this draft, but it's hard to a center. There's no center that's like a no doubt first round pick, and it's like crap. They need a starting center. So that's going to be a really interesting thing to follow. You know, I think the guy from the Ravens, Tyler Lindbaum, like that's an easy fix, no doubt, but like that's not going to be cheap. And that just seems. I just want to tamper the flames of expectations there. I would not bank on that. I would put that at like a 5% chance of happening. Like, you know, it's an obvious fit. It's an obvious need. It would be an obvious talent boost, but like, I just don't see him getting that aggressive, even for center. So I don't know. We'll see. They keep talking about Tate maybe doing some center stuff. I think he wants to stay at guard. I think he's better at guard. I think there was a reason that trial run only lasted 4 or 5 days in camp last year. It was probably Jared being like, we got Graham sitting right there. I know this guy. Let me just snap it with him. So
I know
we'll see
what gut feels like.
exactly. Exactly. So it's complicated this offseason. It's complicated, but they need to operate like Decker's already gone. Whether he comes back or not, they need to operate like he's gone.
I agree. And now we've got all the Monty talk. Has there been any other developments with David Montgomery?
No, that's going to be interesting because the one thing that because I was thinking, all right, this feels like it's coming to an end too. But when they hire Patsing and you look at what worked well for him in Arizona, it's like, dang, it'd be kind of nice to have a David Montgomery to go with that Gibbs for that offense too. So I know what Brad said after the season. I know it. I can confirm it got a little weird with David this year for sure. There were some unhappy moments, no doubt about it. But I do think that it's kind of like the Anzalone situation. And in Montgomery's under contract. His extension hasn't even kicked in yet. And it's not that bad either. So I'm just like, all right, mend those fences. I don't think they're extremely broken fences. Mend them. And you're going to need him because they're looking like they're going to run the ball a lot next year. They're looking like they're going to be heavy a lot next year. Gibbs is going to be that 1A bell cow guy, but like David Montgomery for 8 to 15 touches a game, it's a good situation to have.
Yep.
I'd bring him back. I would bring him back. Keep him. I would. Yep.
I would. I mean, it's Sonic and Knuckles, man. You can't have it without him. So speaking of Petsing, I was listening to Easy, our friend Easy on the heavyweight. I think he said it best when he's like, are we bald shaming Petsing? Because like if this guy had hair, everybody would be like, oh, this young and up and coming OC, you know. But you know, we see that
78, he's our age.
87, baby.
We see the mastermind guy. We're like, oh, get this guy out of Detroit. We don't want him. So thoughts on Petsing here, Ben?
It was pretty funny that I saw the Reddit edit that put hair and a beard on him, and people were like, "Yeah, I feel better about this now." I do think it was just, and I wrote about this a little because I'm like, even when like we heard the name, it was like, "Oh, what's up?" Just like, but then I think it was just the initial shock of not a household name, and if you're coming from an Arizona Cardinals team, more times than not, that's not going to inspire confidence. But it was one of those things. The more you read about him, the more you look into the tape, the more you look at what he does. I'm like, all right, this fit actually makes a ton of sense for what Dan Campbell wants to do. And the thing, and I'll just throw in Kafka too, but having guys like Petsing and Kafka in high-ranking offensive roles, those are 2 different paths. Those are 2 different coaching trees. Those are 2 different systems coming to run Dan Campbell's system. Like it's going to be Petsing's offense, but that's Dan Campbell's baby. Like I always remind people, like I know outside world probably thinks of him as just a motivator, CEO, culture type guy. That's an offensive coach. There's a reason he's taken over play calling twice. Excuse me. But like, I'm like, man, two new voices, two new fresh set of eyes instead of last year where they just brought back someone who had already been there before, who he was comfortable with, who spoke the same language. I was bringing in two guys that don't speak they speak the same football language, but you know what I mean. There's going to be terminology changes. They're going to have to mesh systems. So I do like it. And the thing when people were getting really out of control, I was just like, there's got to be some trust in Dan Campbell still.
For sure,
I know the Morton hire whiffed, but he's done a lot more good than bad. And it's not to the point where he shouldn't be trusted as a talent evaluator, talking about players or coaches. So I just think he went with the familiar, someone he saw work well with Jared Goff, and it didn't work out with John Morton. This time, hey, new guy. Let's figure this out. Let's make them part of us. And that's kind of why I'm more into it.
Yeah, maybe you learned from his mistake last time, just taking, Johnny Mo in.
Yeah.
So I wanted to circle back. So Petzing is going to be offensive, running first, 13 personnel type coordinator, right? But then you bring in Kafka, like you just mentioned, who's a great passing game coordinator. We saw him should have whooped the Lions had it not been for some ridiculous play by the Lions late in the fourth quarter. With our friend Jameis eating a W Winston. So that being said, I like how you worded it that it's still Dan Campbell's baby. So you're going to have new plays coming in with rushing, new plays coming in with passing, but yet when it comes to, hey, it's 4th and 2, 4th and 3, Petzing's looking at Dan, right? It's still Dan's baby. It's still his call, right? He's still going to have his footprint on it, handprint.
Yeah. Those calls are still going through Dan's headset. He's still the one telling you to go for it on 4th down or not. I don't care who's calling the plays or not. Dan Campbell's still going to have his giant meat hawk on there. It's still going to be involved. But yeah, the thing with Kafka is that's what I like, because when you look at Petzing, it's all right, what is your passing identity? And it's Kyler Murray's been your quarterback. Oh, Jacoby Brissett was your quarterback this year. We don't know yet. We don't know what your passing identity is. So you bring in someone like Kafka, and it's this is kind of nice. We don't know what Kafka's position is yet. We'll see what happens with David Shaw. I know he got some outside interviews, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up as the passing game coordinator. I think we'll see, though. It could be a senior offensive assistant. But the Petzing jumbo stuff, the Petzing running stuff, the stuff he was doing with James freaking Conner in year 7 and year 8. He's coming here, and you got a Jahmyr Gibbs waiting for you. You've potentially got a David Montgomery as your 2 waiting for you. I think they started 5 or 6 different running backs and the leading amount of offensive line combinations this year. So it's kind of all right, when this guy had a healthy, weird Cardinals team, he was still 2nd in the league 2 years in a row in rushing yard, rushing success and yards per carry. And it's even with Detroit's offensive line last year, it's still better than what he's worked with. So that's the reason for optimism. And the one thing, I already said it, but Dan Campbell's not going to hire somebody he doesn't think is going to speak their language and fit in with their culture. I think that would be his number one strength. So that's kind of, even with my family, who's this Petzing guy? What do I think? And I'm just listen, I don't really know, because he just came from a broken Cardinals franchise, but he's got great run stuff, creative offensive line stuff. He's a wizard with tight ends and got the most out of a veteran running back, and he's walking into a freaking pretty good situation here. And it's just Dan Campbell signed off on him with his offense. He knows that he doesn't want to be doing this every year. Anthony Lynn, Ben Johnson, John Morton, he doesn't want to add a 4th name in 6 years to that list, or it's going to be some giant question mark. So I think he knows how important this hire was. I think it was a lot tougher for him to give up play calling than many think too, because I was kind of the thinking of man, Dan Campbell has never had a full offseason as the play caller. Right. It's taken over middle of the season. So I'm I'd be interested to see what that looks like. But I do think in the grand scheme, him having his eyes everywhere and not in a play sheet where it was supposed to be the second half of the season, I think a lot of those, the sloppiness and the defensive kind of falling off a cliff, his eyes would have been helpful there. In the grand scheme, I think it's a good thing. I think it was harder for him to give up play calling than a lot of people think.
Okay. See, that's the insight that the All Grit podcast brings to you weekly. We love it here. All right. So you got another question, Adrian, or we're going to run our.
So Tanner Engstrand, right? I think he just got hired by the Falcons. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that
or is he still free? Is he still a free agent out there? I guess
he is passing game corner of the Falcons.
Yeah.
He's out
Okay.
there. Yep,
That's weird to see
gone.
that now. I saw that.
Yeah.
Let's just say he's available or someone like him is available. Can there be too many cooks in the kitchen? We've got Mike Kafka. We've got all these guys that are smart people. What are your thoughts, Ben? Is there such a thing as too many cooks in the kitchen, or the more the merrier?
There is such a thing as that, but I think when you have a head coach like Dan Campbell, there is not, because I think he's wearing the chef's hat. Like even if Kafka's calling Petzing's calling the plays, he's the OC. Yes, he's got full control of his offense, but like at the end of the day, like it's Dan. This is Dan's team. That's Dan's offense. Like so, I get some of that concern, but it's like I don't know. These guys aren't going to be like arguing over like a 2nd and 7 play call. Like there's going to be banter back and forth in the headsets, but like that's what coaching is. So like if they would have hired, like let's say they would have hired Tanner Ingstrin as an offensive assistant coach or as their new tight ends coach, since they still need one of those, like I would have viewed that as a no negativity, all positivity type of move, like just to answer that question. But no, get all the experienced, different minded offensive minds you can get in there. Like honestly, I think Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes' culture of collaboration is where stuff like that can really thrive and not be a hindrance like where it is elsewhere, because there is that one powerful voice controlling the ship.
Yeah.
So let's swing briefly off of the season talk, and let's talk a little bit more personal into your life and your beat writing and your reporting, kind of like behind the scenes. So there's a question here. What's the most memorable interview that you have ever done with a Lions player or coach? And it doesn't have to be an interview. It could be any type of conversation. I know Jen Hammond had some good stuff on Dan Campbell, but she also loves some Lomas and Porsche, all those old players. But what about you, being in the next generation here?
That's a good question. Every interaction with Lomas is an all-time favorite. Like he is the best, the absolute best. I will give you an interview. All right, I did a big feature on Tim Patrick last year. He hadn't caught a touchdown in like 1,000 days, and then he had the primetime game where he had 2 touchdowns. And I had been working on a feature on him for like the 3 weeks leading into that, and I was like, I need this guy to score a touchdown so I can run this story this week. I'm a big guy. You can't see it here. You guys have seen me in person, but just I know that for people listening and watching me sit in my parents' guest room, I'm 6'6", 270 pounds. I'm a big guy. Tim Patrick, we do this one-on-one in the hallway. Tim's a big guy. Tim's like 6'4", 220. He's sitting down. He must not have like heard me come up to him. What's your guys' rules on swearing real quick?
We try to keep it clean, but you can, we got a bleep button here.
All right. It's nothing crazy. But I come up behind him, and he just looks at me, and he goes, holy effing shit, you're tall. And then we just went into like a 45, like it was just this hilarious moment. And then we went into this like 45-minute like intense interview about his tough upbringing and his injuries and all that stuff. But that's up there, and just
nice.
Dude, I love his character, man. I was kind of sad when we traded him to the Jaguars.
I remember you were sad. You wanted to keep Patrick.
Because last year he was my dude. Like every game here on the podcast, we do like a bold take, like a parlay or something. And a lot of mine last year had to do with Tim Patrick. I was like, Timmy, 50 yards this game, Timmy touchdown, and I would get him. And then we traded him. I was like, dang it.
Other ones, just briefly, Kerryon Johnson was always a blast. Jamal Williams, covering Jamal Williams was an experience. Just, I could see how you would think that would be fake if you were watching it from afar, but Jamal Williams was the same person at his locker alone with not knowing anybody was watching. There were 30 cameras in front of him. So that was always good. And then I guess I will share this one. It's been long enough. Ashawn Robinson notoriously hated everyone in the media. Like everyone.
Really?
Man, woman, white, black, Latino, don't matter. Hated everyone. The guys, it was Justin Rogers and it was Kyle. They pranked me on my first day in the locker room. They were like, hey, you should go interview Ashawn and introduce yourself as the newest reporter. And I won't quote him because we just have to bleep the whole sentence, but I walked away like, holy crap, they talk to us like that sometimes? And it's never happened. Nothing ever that close to has happened to me that level since, but like that's just, he told me to F off, go somewhere. And I was like, oh, welcome to the NFL, kid. And then 10 minutes later, Deshaun Hand snuck up behind me and scared me, and I'm a jumpy guy, and like I went through my notebook in the air. So they like hazed me on day one in the locker room back in 2018.
Love it. You know what? Deshaun Hand, was he still playing as of this year or last year? I know last year. He was
this year.
Isn't that unbelievable? And he's starting on was it the Rams? Or who was it?
Last I saw, he's with the Dolphins. He's with the Chargers. There you go.
Oh, I knew it was the team that we played, so it might have been the Dolphins. That's unbelievable. And didn't Ashawn just retire?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
a little bit ago. But I mean, love those. I can still remember those picks, man. Coming out of Alabama.
Oh my goodness.
Where did
Hand has some kind of random connection to Grand Rapids because he beat Grand Rapids randomly sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So those are the good ones I could remember. I love it.
See, that's the stuff
that might have been the first time I've told the Ashawn Robinson story, just because it was I was like, you know what? It's been 7 years. I could tell that story. I'm sure he's done that to someone else since then.
We got some breaking. This is breaking news on the All Grit podcast.
Oh no!
Ashawn Robinson is a.
Oh, no. I didn't say that, Ashawn. I didn't say that.
We don't care. He ain't coming up here. That's hilarious, bro. No, sorry to freak you out if there was breaking news that you thought that was going off on your phone.
What do I gotta go do? Come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like Ben's like, I gotta go write an article real quick. What's up?
Put my phone down for 30 minutes. No.
Exactly. No, man. We appreciate the time, man. We got a little listening pod over here in the Grand Rapids area, but actually it's kind of interesting. Adrian kind of, goes on the algorithms here, and we got people in other countries listening to this little podcast. So it's awesome. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully the Grand Rapids people represent. I used to host the Big Drew and Jim show. I was on ESPN 961 back in the day. Yep.
Hey, did you hear that we got the ticket over here now, 98.7 out of the Grand Rapids area?
Yeah, and I heard the advertisement for him, and I was like, all right, Jim Costa's back on the airwaves in West Michigan.
That's right. Yeah, we love hearing him, except, you got to get up early in the morning to hear that. But other than that, yeah, I still love Valenti. What's your take on Valenti, bro? Because Adrian doesn't like Valenti. A couple of other guys on the pod don't like him. I like him. I think he's honest, bro. I feel like he will rip State just like he'll rip Michigan. He'll rip the Giants just like he'll rip Detroit. But like in all honesty, he's just, and that's how I am on this podcast. I call these guys slappies all the time because they're like, oh, Brad Holmes can do no wrong and Dan Campbell can do no wrong. And it's like I'll bust out the slappy, drop once in a while, but it's like I'm 38 and Adrian's like 10 years younger than me or 8 years younger. He just doesn't remember some of these things about the Lions that we do. And he just needs to be told that not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Anyways,
what are you gonna do?
That's my take. That's my rant. So listen, bro, before we get out of here, let's where can our listeners find you? I know that you have it written down here on the YouTube.
Shout outs.
Yeah, any shout outs that you want, man. We appreciate you being on here.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm on social media. It's either Ben Raven or Benjamin S. Raven. All my work goes to mlive.com/Lions. We do the Dungeon of Doom pod. You can find that wherever. MLive's YouTube account. But yeah, we'll be back up soon here. Be in Indianapolis for the Combine in 19 days.
Oh, that's gonna be fun, man.
Yep.
That looks tight.
Hey, make sure to get some of those shrimp at Elmo's.
Oh, I do every time because I'm a big horseradish fan and they do it right.
So guess what? No lie. Turn that down a little bit. We just went to Costco the other day, and my wife found the St. Elmo's cocktail sauce there. I'm not kidding you, bro. $1.97 for a bottle. I was amazed. So we came home, we did the shrimp thing, and we just did the whole. I mean, just loaded it up. And I got a video. I choked. I choked. It was so strong of horseradish. And we went there in Indy. That's when we met the Hammer and TJ Lang and everybody. In fact, yeah. Pull up this picture here. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, it's in the background. Yeah.
Wait, we'll pull it. how do you get our heads out of there?
Oh, awesome. You got Danny in there too. Yep.
Yeah. So the other picture was we had our first, shrimp cocktail at that event. But holy cow, that stuff is amazing. Have you had it, Adrian?
No, I have not. All
right, come over, bro. Come over. I got you.
Yeah.
$1.97 at Costco. So listen, Ben, before we get out of here, we have one request of you, of course, as we always request of our listeners. It's kind of like spread the love, spread the joy. So you are to take the All Grit podcast to the Dungeon of Doom. You have to. You have to give us a little shout out, bro.
All right. I got you.
So we're listening.
Tomorrow. You'll be listening.
Are you recording tomorrow? Okay, you tell Corey you hopped on the Grand Rapids All Grit podcast.
We got you warmed up today.
That's right.
No, I got you.
All right, buddy.
You.
Appreciate
I'm the producer and host. I got you.
That's right. All right, man. Well, we really appreciate
we can have you another time.
Absolutely. Hit me up anytime. We'll figure it out. I'll be a little quicker this time.
All right. No, we appreciate it, bro. All right. We'll catch you. If we don't see you, we'll see you at spring training.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.